In today's world, we are increasingly dependent on technology. Our business and personal lives rely on it, but as you've probably noticed, it's unreliable. They promise it'll get better, but it usually gets worse. Our computers are slow, so we end up squinting at smartphones and tablets. We live in constant fear that something's going to happen to our personal data, so we're scared into paying for fake protection that proves useless when disaster strikes. Update attacks, fake Wi-Fi, cloud control, and other industry scandals are designed to keep the money flowing. The jokers we pay to fix our stuff have no clue what they're doing, so they do a virus scan and then wipe out our precious photos. Intelligent, successful people feel intimidated by the chaos and think it's somehow their fault. If they only knew what the industry was doing to them, they'd get torches and pitchforks. If only we had someone to explain it all in plain English so we can start protecting ourselves. Oh wait, we do! It's the Computer Exorcist Podcast with your host, Marc Anthony Arena.
From the Wallace Memorial microphone in my home office overlooking the Can of Worms in downtown Rochester, New York, this is the Computer Exorcist Podcast. My name is Marc Anthony Arena. I am so thrilled you are joining me today. I think we're going to do some articles about Microsoft, so you can learn more about Microsoft. And like I said last week, I will try my darndest to refrain from commentary throughout. I am learning the art of subtlety, and I am learning that sometimes if you let the articles speak for themselves, it is more impactful. So as I often do when I prepare articles for my episodes, I will pick out a few articles that are relevant to each other and plop them in the same folder, and okay, this is what we're talking about today. These are all relevant to each other. So I've got a mix of them, some older, some newer, but they are all about Microsoft. A couple of them are about outages, and then later on, we're going to talk about update attacks and some more destruction that update attacks have caused and left in their wake. So here goes. This first one is from ZDNet.com, March 2021. Microsoft's latest cloud authentication outage. What went wrong? Roughly 14-hour Azure outage that took down Office 365, Dynamics 365, whatever that is, Xbox Live, and other Microsoft services. Microsoft has published a preliminary root cause analysis of its March 15th Azure Active Directory outage, which took down all of those aforementioned services. An automated system removes keys that are no longer in use, but over the past few weeks, a key was marked as retain for longer than normal in order to support a complex cross-cloud migration. Okay, so I've done migrations in or out of the cloud, but this is a cross-cloud migration. Actually, I've done those too, where you take data and you just move it from one cloud service to another. Okay, make sense? It's kind of like if I had a storage facility for my inventory and I was renting one room and then I decided to rent another room. I'm just moving it from one rented room to another. This resulted in the retained key to be removed. Azure stopped trusting the tokens or assertions that were signed with the remove key. All right, in simple terms, it just means that there's a bunch of keys that are accepted, right? And that key list was there, and when you log into something, there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes, but basically your computer makes an assertion. Hi, I'm Mark, this is my name and password, I deserve to get into my account. Okay? How's that for a good explanation? Yeah, I'm pretty proud of myself. So, for some reason, their system stopped trusting those tokens or assertions that were signed with that key that was removed. Microsoft engineers rolled back the system and probably rolled their eyes, rolled back the system to its prior state around 5 o'clock, but it takes a while for applications to pick up the rolled back metadata. Okay, metadata is like extraneous data. I'll give you a great example with photos or phone calls, right? Digital photos or digitally recorded phone calls. You have the actual material, the actual photograph or the actual recorded conversation, but then you have other details, right? The name of the file, the size of the file, when and where it was recorded in some cases, extra information about it. It's like if you're in an art gallery, you look at the actual artwork, but then underneath there's a little tag that has the name and the year and the explanation. All right, how's that for another good analogy for you? So Microsoft engineers did roll it back as soon as they found out, but it took a while for the applications to figure that out, and that's totally understandable. A subset of resources required an update to invalidate those incorrect entries and then force a refresh. So it's okay, guys. All right, look, that's incorrect. So those aren't going to work. So stop looking at those, and we're going to give you the fresh keys. And then they forced a refresh. Okay, fine. Microsoft's explained that Azure Active Directory is undergoing a multi-phase effort to apply additional protections to prevent these kinds of problems. Oops. Microsoft said the Azure outage at the end of September is part of the same class of risks that they believe they will solve. We understand how incredibly impactful and unacceptable this is and apologize deeply. Okay, that's fine. We are continuously taking steps to ensure such incidents do not occur in the future. Well, I've got 3 more articles here that talk about future things that they let happen in the future. And this is only 4 articles, folks. This is a near daily basis that holes are discovered in Microsoft products or outages occur within the Microsoft world, right? By the way, Azure Active Directory is this. So in 1991... or sometime in the early 90s, Microsoft had local servers that you would have in your school or business or what have you. It was called Active Directory, and it's kind of a good idea. It's horribly unreliable and horribly insecure. Oops, I didn't say that. But it's very easy to use, and it's easy to deploy. It's easy to set up, right? So a lot of system administrators like it because, we'll just do that. It's just Microsoft. It's easy to set up. So Active Directory is just a directory of your employees or students or whatever it may be. It's just a directory of their names, passwords, and maybe some of their documents, that sort of thing. So Azure is Microsoft's branding for their cloud services. So again, instead of creating new products and services, Microsoft has never created anything new since the Xbox in 2001. Everything they've done since then is just evolutions and duct tape and Band-Aids. So Azure Active Directory just means an early 90s piece of software that's now running in their cloud. It's just a regurgitated piece of early 90s software that they are now renting to you. So it's still Active Directory, it's just up in the cloud instead of in your office, which is arguably less safe, and it's not in your control. It's totally out of your control anyway. Computing.co.uk, June 2023. OneDrive outage investigated by Microsoft. The outage left some users unable to log in, and a hacktivist group claims responsibility, right? They hack into things in order to prove a point. So the problem with OneDrive is this. 99% of users are unaware of its existence. And that's fine. You're not aware of someone's product. That's fine. But 99% of users are unaware that they're involved in the OneDrive scandal. In my professional estimation, 99% of users aren't aware that their files were sucked out of their computer and into a cloud. Okay? The next issue with that is the OneDrive engine destroys itself at random, and it begs you to sign in. Well, I don't know. This thing keeps popping up. I just got this call last week from someone. This thing keeps coming up, and they said, it says OneNote wants me to... It's not OneNote, it's OneDrive, to different products. And it took a minute for me to realize that. I'm like, no, it's not OneNote. It's OneDrive begging you to sign in, and this happens to everybody on Earth. Okay? And I don't know, this thing keeps begging me to sign in, so I'm just going to keep closing it, right? Well, OneDrive destroys itself at some point, at a random point during your ownership of your computer. It's usually nuked by an update attack. So what does that mean? Well, you didn't realize that your files were sucked into OneDrive. So now you go to access some of the files, and oh wait, you can't because you're not signed into OneDrive anymore, right? It's like, what if I walked in and stole a bunch of your possessions from your house, and then I left a little tunnel from your house to my house or my storage facility, and then you would get your stuff, you wouldn't notice any difference, but then I destroyed the tunnel, and now you can't get to your stuff that was stolen. Okay, so I stole your stuff, but I gave you access to it so you didn't realize it was stolen, and then the tunnel is destroyed, so now you can't get to your stuff. Well, of course, no one's going to remember their OneDrive password. It's the password you created on day one when you bought your computer. Microsoft then attacks you with a PIN number, which guarantees, or almost guarantees, that you will forget your real Microsoft account password / computer password / OneDrive password 5 minutes after you started up the computer the first time. So you just log in with that 4-digit PIN. Of course, you're not going to know your password ever again, and there's nobody that can help you. Nobody at Microsoft can ever help you because you can't prove anything about who you are or who the computer belongs to or anything like that. So I step in, I have a password battle against Microsoft to get you back into your OneDrive account, then I reach through that tunnel and rescue all your documents. So I got to do that for a client next week. All right. March 2024. This article, ironically, is from MSN, the Microsoft News Network. Okay, so the first two were about cloud outages. These last two are about update attacks that Microsoft sends out to their own products. Again, they intend to help them, they intend to fix them, they intend to add more features, even though they're features that nobody wanted. But update attacks almost always damage your computer and break things you wanted. Okay, so this article is from MSN themselves. Beware, the latest Windows 11 update might crash your PC. Microsoft releases routine updates for Windows every month, and while the intent is to fix issues and add new features, the latest one is doing more harm than good. Their words, not mine. The latest update could be crashing PCs with the feared blue screen of death. That's when the machine just stops working, shows a blue screen. And now, at least Microsoft gives you the little consolation prize of having a little frowny face. Although Microsoft hasn't appeared to document any known issues with this update, there's a Reddit thread on the matter. Frustrated Windows 11 users mention the problems they are experiencing after installing the update. One mentions that Explorer.exe shows an error during shutdown, and the ribbon of File Explorer is slow to load. PCs feel laggy when gaming, so basically all this stuff is like it's 1994 again. And Windows is looping and asking for a BitLocker code, and that's part of the whole drive encryption scandal. Again, 99% of consumers aren't aware that they're involved in the whole drive encryption scandal. This is where Microsoft or Apple lock your entire hard drive with a password without your knowledge. It's great if you're a spy in a war zone, but if you're a consumer who forgets their password every day, that means your hard drive is locked forever. And you know, this is a separate use case, as they say, that I didn't even think of, right? Most people just forget their passwords, but in this case, it could lock your hard drive permanently due to an update attack, right? I've seen this all the time where people can't log into their computers even though the password was correct because the computer was roasted. The locking mechanism software destroyed itself. But here's a great example where, all right, your Microsoft operating system is roasted during an update attack. Happens every day. No big deal. I get in there and rescue your data. But in this case, your whole drive encryption was locked and roasted during an update attack. So it's kind of like you have a padlock on your door, but then someone shows up with a blowtorch and melts the padlock into the door. So now you can never get in ever again. So that's kind of what happened there. The update attack caused Windows to loop and loop and loop forever because it could no longer unlock its own hard drive. And it begged for a password, which it just, no matter what, it wouldn't work. So that's another excellent way where protection can never actually protect you, but it's a guarantee that it would lock you out of your own stuff. And that is yet another reason you should do a real proper backup with a real external hard drive, because your machine can and will destroy itself or lock itself or whatever. So keeping on an external hard drive that doesn't have any locking or encrypting or whatever on it, just do a backup, put it in a fire safe, that's it. Okay, that's why it's so important. So if this ends up happening to your PC, there's an easy solution. Document the issue in the Windows 11 feedback hub, right? So if you're 90 years old, you got to do that, right? We're going to make you into a mechanic. And then you can try to roll back the update. Again, make you into a mechanic. Rolling back the update is, look, Windows 10 and newer. All right, with Windows 10 and newer, a consumer is not allowed to protect themselves against update attacks, right? So it's just, you just have to receive the attack, and if it destroys your computer, you have to figure out how to boot it up to safe mode and then roll back the update. There's no prevention, right? Even if this is a known worldwide issue, like the day this article came out, there's no hope. You just have to take it. You just have to take the attack and let it destroy your computer, even if it's a known issue, because consumers do not have the ability to protect themselves from update attacks. So we'll talk about that in a second. It's not uncommon for routine updates to cause Windows PCs to crash or bring about other issues. February's round of updates caused PCs to freeze at 96% during the update. Okay, right? It's not just uncommon. It's more often than not, in my experience, that the update attacks destroy. So this is another example where the update attack destroys itself during the attack. So it can't even do the attack and then reboot. It locks up your machine at 96% and just stops. So the only solution that I trust, and I'm not getting any commission for this, but Stop Updates 10. It works for Windows 10 and newer, and it protects you from update attacks. It's a toggle switch. It is the only thing that you can use to protect yourself from attacks. All right, Microsoft says, we're going to give you choices, right? And it's up to you, it's a choice is you. But the only choice they give you is to kick it down the road and brush it under the rug. You no longer, as of Windows 10 and newer, you no longer are given the choice to protect yourself, to turn off the attacks. So Stop Updates 10 is the only product I use, and it protects against update attacks. All right, last one. Again, folks, this is just 4 examples in what actually is a near daily occurrence with updates, especially from Microsoft. Almost all update attacks from all companies destroy things, but Microsoft has an especially bad track record, right? With my Roku and my Fire Stick, I have no choice, right? I haven't figured out a way to protect myself from update attacks. Luckily, it's extremely rare that an update attack will completely roast your Roku or Fire Stick. After 2 years, though, update attacks will completely roast it so that it's too slow to use, but they don't roast them spontaneously, like Microsoft products tend to do. But yeah, it's kind of funny. I mean, I still like a Roku and a Fire Stick because it means when they roast themselves, I just go out and buy another $30 stick instead of buying a whole new TV, which is what would happen if it was a smart TV. But anyway. All right, ZDNet.com. Having VPN connection issues? Microsoft warns the April 2024 Windows Update is to blame. And this is a May 2024 article. If you install the latest Windows Update, your VPN connections may fail. Microsoft says it's working on a fix. And look, folks, side note, no, you don't need a VPN. VPNs are only for commercial, corporate kind of clients who might travel overseas and need to have what they call a tunnel cloaking all of their traffic between them and their office. If you are a normal human being, all of your traffic is already protected by HTTPS. Do you think your bank would let you do online banking if they knew that there could ever be a possible issue? So look, if you see those scary ads that say, "What, are you doing banking in a public Wi-Fi?" It's all fake. It's all scareware. It's all designed to scare you into paying them money for fake protection. All right, VPN is real, but it's irrelevant and it's unnecessary. So in that case, it's fake protection. Okay? So here's what it says. Another Windows update, another glitch. All right, and this article is Lance Whitney. Lance, I applaud you. All right, we're going to let Lance do all the talking for the rest of this episode. We'll see if Marc can shut up. Another Windows update, another glitch. In an all too familiar refrain, Microsoft has acknowledged that its latest update for Windows may break a key capability on which many users depend. The April 2024 update could prevent your VPN from connecting. Microsoft didn't provide a specific date as to when the glitch will be fixed, but they say we are working on a resolution. Windows updates are supposed to fix problems, not create them, you say. That's correct in theory, but in reality, Microsoft's updates often have a poor batting average. Well said. Sometimes they fail to install properly. Sometimes they conflict with other apps or capabilities, causing them to break certain functionality. Sometimes they can even cause Windows to freeze, crash, or experience the dreaded blue screen of death. This reads like Dr. Seuss. I like this. Sometimes they this, sometimes they that. I don't know if he mentioned the one where sometimes, I think it was the October 2018 attack, where sometimes they roast all of your data, right? Sorry, too bad. No answer, no response, too bad. All right, Marc. Microsoft typically releases Windows updates as part of Patch Tuesday. More recently, the company has expanded the scope to include new and improved features as well. New features, right? So it's not just patches, it's new things, what I call anti-features. Things you didn't want, you didn't need, that are going to slow you down and record your behavior. Not to mention annoy. The April 2024 update added Start Menu ads for recommended apps, which I'm sure is a feature every Windows user has been demanding. His words, not mine. Microsoft has been faulted in the past for not testing them properly before rolling them out. That's a valid criticism, but overall challenge is the sheer number of Windows PCs and configurations, okay? So, yeah, they put out an update attack, and, well, look, one person has one piece of software that doesn't work with it, or one person has one piece of hardware that doesn't work with it. Okay, fine. So even extensive testing can't always catch each potential glitch. All right, and hey, look, when I was in corporate, they wouldn't test anything. I think I said that last week, right? They wouldn't bother testing anything at all. They would just unleash the attack. The local administrators would unleash the attack, usually an Adobe attack, and just too bad. Go to the top or the bottom of the update history screen and click uninstall, right? Like we talked about a few minutes ago, rolling back the update attack. Otherwise, you'll have to wait for Microsoft to issue a fix, which probably isn't too far away and hopefully won't itself break any other features, all right? So he's saying, look, yeah, they'll come out with a fix, and that fix will break something as well. So look, folks, again, if you want to excuse yourself from this circus, right, you can just install Stop Updates 10 and you just never have a problem again. The updates claim that they're going to help you, but the only thing they can do is fix astronomically unlikely things, okay? All my clients, when I see them, I install Stop Updates 10, and that's why they stop having these constant weekly issues. Most of them are stable for 5 to 10 years. Okay, and even if they have an issue, it's not with an update because they are protected from updates. So that's that story. Alright, so here's a bonus article that summarizes what we've talked about today. This is a new one that just came into my inbox, and it's at the top of the pile, but I gotta talk about this. It's, again, quite relevant to what we're doing here. FederalNewsNetwork.com, 13th of May, 2024. Congressmen request Microsoft president testify about cascade of security failures and cybersecurity shortfalls. This was 13th of May, 2024. Leaders on the House Homeland Security Committee wrote to Brad Smith, the vice chairman and president of Microsoft, asking him to testify. The two top leaders on the House Homeland Security Committee want to put Microsoft on the hot seat about its cybersecurity practices. Committee Chairman Marc Green, Republican of Tennessee, and Ranking Member Bernie Thompson, Democrat of Texas, wrote to Brad Smith, the vice chairman and president of Microsoft, asking him to testify on May 22nd. The committee is planning a hearing about the Homeland Security Department's Cyber Safety Research Board's recent report on the Redmond, Washington company's cybersecurity practices. The CSRB report found Microsoft has repeatedly failed to prevent substantial cyber intrusions, causing grave implications for the security and integrity of U.S. government data, networks, and information. Thank you. 30-something years later, someone's finally noticing. Okay? 11 years after I got on the air talking about this, someone is noticing this, right? And it's not even Microsoft failing to prevent these things. It's the design of Microsoft products, okay? I'll take you a step farther and say that the fact that they're using ancient garbage that is Swiss cheese, as I say, means that we all live in fear. What did I say in my book? Someone in my book talked about, I quoted someone saying that we've all had to live with the fear and the crashes and the heartaches and the hair pulling and all that, to paraphrase that, because of Microsoft. No other software company in the world, right? I mean, Apple and Google are brutal, but no other software company in the world is as incompetent as Microsoft, right? So they all have their flaws, but Microsoft probably takes the cake as far as incompetence goes. All right, so that was me trying to remain calm during this. But yeah, that's finally someone saying, hey, look, there was that giant data breach where someone broke in and stole all of the federal employees' social security numbers and HR dossiers. Oh, yeah, that was what, 4, 5, 6 years ago? And now, finally, someone says, oh, hey, wait a minute, what's the common denominator with all cybersecurity issues? Oh, yeah, Microsoft products. Oh, wow, look at that. Oh, wow. Maybe they just aren't being bought out anymore or aren't being lobbied as much anymore. I don't know. But someone, 11 years after I started talking about this, someone noticed. I wish I was the one to receive some kind of a acknowledgement of, oh yeah, wow, Mark was the first one, but whatever. I'm validated, I'm gratified because finally someone noticed. So who knows, maybe I can finally retire and teach Spanish somewhere and solve world hunger or something. Oh. My name is Mark Anthony Arena. I'm so thrilled you joined me today. Stay tuned. I might do another prank call episode next week. I haven't done one of those in a while, where the scammers call me up and I torment them. I certainly have a lot of material sitting there waiting in the briefcase. I got a lot of recordings, so we might put some more together for you. Look, if you know anyone who doesn't know what to do with their life and has a modicum of intelligence and drive and personability and responsibility, then have them go over to becomeanexorcist.com, my newly redesigned website. I actually simplified all my training documents. Here I am, always pontificating about simplicity, and then I noticed that my training site had 46 individual documents that you had to buy and all this. I mean, yeah, that's nice and customizable, but I figure I'll just put them into module groups, maybe 7 or 8 groups of training documents, and so you only need to buy 8 different transactions instead of 46 transactions, right? So you learn in groups. I also reorganized them so that instead of, hey, look, here's all the easy topics and here's all the hard topics, no, it's, all right, look, you need to learn how to clean a Windows PC, then afterward you need to learn how to start a business, then after that you need to learn the advanced stuff. So I organized it in a way that makes sense, as opposed to just classifying the training based on how they relate, how the documents are similar to each other. All right. Have a great week. We'll talk to you soon.
It's all right now. I make it on my own. I paid my time and my dues, and now I'm coming home. First they give you an inch, and then they take